All right. Good evening, and welcome to the Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 edition of the Clawson City Council meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we are going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next we have words of inspiration from Father Tony Riker from Guardian Angels Church.
And as we come here together, one of the first things that I have to say is I'm proud to say that I'm in Clawson, and I'm proud that all of us come here today. We come here today, I think, joyfully, and when we start thinking about when we joyfully come here together, we also know that we have not just a job in front of us, but we come in kindness and in goodness. Our community tonight, as we come together, we also know that we are part of unity for Clawson. And as we gather tonight, we know that we're acting in humility and in love for the common good of all the residents of Clawson and the city of Clawson. And so as we begin, we also know that we bring our goodness with us in the work that we do and the positive impact we make for the city of Clawson. And so we ask God to guide and protect our police, our firefighters, our first responders, our schools, protect our mayor and our council and all the community leaders and all of us here tonight, and guide us in this meeting tonight. Protect every resident and guide them, especially our elderly and most vulnerable. Protect the children in our community, help them grow in goodness. As we come together today, we also come together joyfully, and we know that as we joyfully come together, we also help each other to live in the goodness that God created us in. And St. Paul's wrote a letter to the Philippians saying, "Rejoice in the Lord always." I shall say it again, rejoice. Your kindness shall be known to all. And so our kindness tonight also, as we come together, should be shown to all because we care about our city. We come together and we also know that we can do good for our city. And so we are here and we thank God for being here tonight. But more importantly, we know that we have work before us. The work that we do also benefits the whole city of Clawson, and it is good that we are here.
All right, thank you very much. All right, if we could have roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke, Councilmember Peltonen,
Here.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Here.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Present.
Councilmember Spisak,
Present.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Here.
All right, and we would like to wish Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke a speedy recovery from his current illness. We have a roll call. If we could get approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing no one raise their hand. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
Yes. All right, we have approved our agenda as presented. The next item on the agenda is public comment for items on the agenda. Those who wish to speak about an item on the agenda, we welcome you to the podium. We will give you, I gotta do my whole thing. We'll give you 4 minutes. We ask that you state your name and indicate whether or not you're a resident of Clawson or a visitor to this fair city. And this is for items on the agenda.
Hi, Michael Frank, Clawson resident. Also, I'm speaking on behalf of the Board of Education tonight as well. Here to speak about item 9A, business. In the spirit of the work we have done together, the two bodies, the City Council and the School Board, in promoting the City of Clawson and the benefits, this item seems to be an issue of in regards to some miscommunication and the fact that there hasn't been a housing building project like this size in the city of Clawson for a long time. I think this is a simple thing. Based on what I saw in your packet and the information, I'd like to encourage you guys to support this move, this conditional approval, so the work can move forward. This is something that's really positive, I think, for the city and the school district moving forward. So, an example, one of the homes has already been pre-sold to a family from Troy who has proactively pre-enrolled their children into the Clawson School District, anticipating moving in August. But currently, with work being halted until this is resolved, there's no guarantee that the houses will be ready by then. And that's just one example. There have been 16 homes sold already. 8 of them have been sold to actually current Clawson residents who are looking to move into larger homes. So this is something that also affects other Clawson residents as well. So I said, encourage you to support this so this project can move forward. In addition, the developer that we're still working with on selling the Baker property to is also watching this, and they still have the opportunity to step away from the project if they want. And they're watching this to see how it moves forward, to see if it's something they really want to be involved in. In Clawson, they would like to be here, but if it becomes a problem for them to build the homes, they may choose to step away. So I'm hoping this council can see, use their wisdom and move this forward so the projects can move along and we can get these new homes and new families into the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
Okay. Hi, I'm Diane, and I live in Clawson. So I stand here before you not only as a resident of Clawson, but a deeply concerned citizen. For many years, it has been our custom to open with prayer. I stand firm. I do not want prayer taken out. So I was also very surprised when a remark was made that someone had to sit here and listen to it. That's your job. It's not my job to come here and sit and listen. I come here because I give my time. I am committed to learn, contribute, and support you and our city. I urge you to continue honoring the long-standing tradition of prayer. Now, if you so decide to take it out, you can take prayer and God out of here, but you never can take prayer and God from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
She made my job a lot easier. 4 minutes. Stephen Traxel, 381 Lincoln, Clawson citizen since 2014. Love our city. I moved from Auburn Hills. I grew up in Auburn Hills in the 80s. That was the day you could ride your bike anywhere you wanted to all day long, and you came home when the streetlights came on, and you knew you were home for dinner. And moving to Clawson was felt the same way. I felt a wonderful sense of community. It was close. It was 2.2 square miles around. I knew it was a place my kids could also ride their bikes, and so I love the city of Clawson. I love the fact that I have the honor to work as the city, not the chief of police, Lord help me, the chaplain of the police department. It's been a joy for me to do so, and I'm honored to serve with the men and women of blue that do a great job in this city, and I appreciate that opportunity. I'm also speaking on the importance of retaining prayer in our meetings here in our city. I do not pray to convince anyone to believe like me. I pray as a humble person, knowing that I don't know everything. And I acknowledge a God that's bigger than me in my decisions as a father, as a pastor. Everything I do, I know I'm not smart enough to do what I do. So I ask God for help. And when I pray here, I pray a blessing for each of you that the Lord would help you and guide you as well. I will say there's a man that goes to our church that the only way I know him is out of tragedy. He was the very first, as chaplain, we have to, the task of doing death notifications. That's when someone passes away. We knock on the door and we tell them, I'm so sorry to tell you that so-and-so has passed away. It was my very first death notification I had to give, and it was my neighbor behind me. Didn't even know who he was until the situation happened. I had to go to his house with another officer, and he drove into the driveway, and we had to tell him that his son had overdosed on drugs and was no longer here. He had died from overdose. His wife came out of the house, and she was just in shambles. She was shaking. She doesn't know how to process this news that her son has passed away. The only thing I could do, I don't have the, what do you say to a woman like that? What are the words that you choose? I didn't have the words. I simply wrapped my arms around her, and I said, Lord, let my arms be your arms for this moment. Let my hands be your hands. I prayed a simple prayer for comfort for her. And because of that, it drew such a bond between me and this family in that time of need. A simple prayer, not the words I knew to say, but simply to be there for her, let her know that she's not in this by herself, and there's someone here praying for her comfort. Also, let me say this. When I've done other death notifications, I've prayed with people. The majority of the people that I've gone to their houses, sat in their living room with them crying and weeping, I would say, would you like me to say a prayer for your family? Majority say, absolutely, we would love that. Why? They find comfort in that prayer. That's the citizens of this city. Now, you can sit here and make your decree on what you think is proper, but I promise you, you're gonna ostracize more people in the city than you're not by getting rid of prayer in this wonderful place that we call home. And so I'm going to ask you to, if you would, just think about it, keep it here. I believe the people find peace from it. They find strength in that prayer, and do not remove it from what we do here. It's so important for the city. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Ron McCauley. I live at 1008 West Selfridge. And I want to follow up with this gentleman just talked. How in the world can this committee, this board here, think about taking prayer out of the opening of this body? The Congress does it, and the United States Congress does it every time they're in session. And once a month, you want to take it out of the realm of this meeting? That's ridiculous. And whoever come up with the idea to do it ought to be tarred and feathered.
Anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
Char Larson, not from this city, but I've been a volunteer for 28 years, and I implore you, do not take prayer out of this meeting. If someone doesn't want to say a prayer, they don't have to. But I think it brings so much. And someone up here several weeks ago said this is not a Christian community. How can it not be a Christian community when there are 6 churches in this city and they are supported? I beg you, do not do this. No one knows the hour or the time. And I pray for all of you that you will have the wisdom to make the right decision. Think about it. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
Hello, Council. Kathleen Terrell, current resident. So I would like to talk about 9B, the consideration of the DDA director job position. I would like to talk about my support for Kristen Urbanik. She has done an amazing job thus far. I believe she probably should have had the director position back in November when it was first brought up. But that didn't get to go anywhere. Also, within that, at that meeting, they talked about a $40,000 or some funding that they had for the director position. I also believe that she should be awarded that amount of money for becoming the director. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda? Deja vu.
I want to apologize for the last remark I made about tar and feathering. I'm sorry I said that. I regret it.
You're fine. Freedom of speech. Welcome to speak to items on the agenda.
Hello, Council. Hope everybody's doing good. First off, love the new microphone, so thank you. I see you guys got new ones too. Sean Nassery, Clawson resident. I want to mirror what Ms. Terrell said. Kristen Urbanik has been amazing to work with throughout the last few Clawson Fests. For any other items I've had to email her about, it's like she's minutes, lightning fast response. She always has the answers. She gets everything done so quickly. So thank you for her consideration. And also the other item about the Clawson Falls Paws Festival coming up. I do hope that the city goes easy on them and waives any fees for the city work, for the DPW, fire, police, and all that. I think that it's a great Clawson event. And also, I hope that it's a level playing field, because I know they have vendors as well, and I hope that their vendors as well as the car show. I know Michelle said that they did not have vendors. They do. I eat hot dogs and I shop there all the time. But I hope it's a level playing field, that everybody, if they have food vendors, they also have to get the same $1 million insurance to name the city as vendor. So I hope that it's level playing field, and I look forward to your event. And thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda? All right, seeing no one else getting up and moving towards the agenda, we'll close public comment for items on the agenda. Excuse me, and move to proclamations and presentations. We have the Historical Museum update presentation.
Hello, Leah Davis, Clawson Historical Museum. So we've got a couple of changes here in 2026. The first one is our new hours. We are now open Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 5, and the first Saturday of each month from 2 to 5 as well. So this upcoming Saturday will be open. We did this to reduce the amount of times that we're closed on Saturdays, just with events, people wanting time off. It kind of created an issue last year where we had a lot of days we had to close. We also have 2 new exhibits this year. Our first exhibit on our second floor is on the churches of Clawson. We did that because we've got a lot of anniversaries happening this year. The Methodist Church turns 110. The Lutheran Church, which is now Spirit of Christ, is 100, and Guardian Angels turns 105 this year. In that same room, we also have like a little mini exhibit on the 250th, but we are kind of focusing on what was happening in Michigan 250 years ago. We do have an upcoming exhibit that we'll announce at some point that will focus on like the 250th of America space as well. We also have a stairway collage, so we have all kinds of like memorabilia type stuff from Frank's Nursery, Class Pharmacy, different things like that up on the wall so people can come in and see some of those things. And lastly, our newest room is our Clawson History Room. So this is an actual designated space for Clawson history. There is a gallery wall with all kinds of photographs spanning the last 100 plus years. We've got some old newspapers up for people to look at. There's, random facts throughout it on Clawson history. We've got directories, censuses, city yearbooks, anything that anybody would want to look through available. And included in that, but we're still working on them, are resource books. These books have polk directories that have been retyped. We have, books on the streets. Why is your street named what it is? And then we have more that we're kind of working through, so those will be continuously added to. But yeah, come in and see those new rooms.
All right, thank you very much. All right. Next, we will move on to consideration of approving the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, as presented, and the list of bills in the amount of $993,238.35.
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltman.
Yes.
All right, we have approved the consent agenda, and we now move on to new business. Item 9A is consideration of conditional approval of the site condominium at the former Shalom School site, parcel ID 16-20-33-179-043. Is this Nick or Mr. Riker?
Need a motion, man.
That'd be after our motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to conditionally approve the final condominium plan for Robinson Brothers and shared development with the following conditions. Construction on individual lots may proceed following approval by the building official and city engineer. A cash bond be deposited with the city of Clawson in the amount of $200,000 USD. The approved construction route is to be closely followed by all contractors. Site security and screening will be followed based on the directive of the building official. Once the public improvements are completed and accepted by the Department of Public Works and Engineering, the final condominium plan returns to the City of Council for final approval for the as-built and to receive and file the master deed and bylaws.
Second.
All right, now, Nick or Mr. Riker?
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. So before I dive into the summary and rationale, I just want to preface, again, the term site condominium is sometimes confusing. It is not. The plan itself hasn't changed whatsoever. The site condominium is the development procedure for being able to build this type of development. So there's still 39 single-family homes proposed here, prepared to be built. There's no status change. I just want to make that clear because that always has some questions.
The explanation you gave to me, because I thought that was very helpful. You said it allowed them to build all of them sort of at once as opposed to one by one, and that's what that term does, right?
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
It's just a development procedure used that's very common nowadays for building subdivisions.
Okay.
All right, so just wanted to start there. So thank you. Presented to the council is a request to conditionally approve the site condominium plan at the former Shalom School site to allow construction to commence on the individual lots. Significant progress has been made regarding the common element and public improvements, which were permitted to begin after the final preliminary site condominium approval by the Planning Commission. Our ordinance requires that these improvements be completed before approving the final condominium plan and allowing construction on individual lots. Our zoning ordinance states in Chapter 34, Article 10, Section 6.4.G4, that final preliminary plan approval does not authorize the construction of buildings or uses on individual building sites. Based on a review of our ordinance and of neighboring/comparable communities, the standard does not encourage efficient timelines for development while also considering delays from inclement weather. Given the circumstances and in the interest of promoting efficient development, we recommend approval of the proposed motion subject to the conditions to guide the development in a safe, controlled, and impactful manner. Staff and representatives from Roberts Brothers will be available for questions.
Did the representatives from Roberts Brothers, are they here? Did you want to make a comment before we start discussion, or?
Hi, Tim Lochran with Robertson Brothers Homes. Nice to see you tonight. Really nothing to add other than we've been successful in our opening. We're very excited to get started. This will enable us to start building the homes. We've got 16 home buyers that are anxious to get started, and this is really the step. Really, the challenge is this is happening in winter, so that's the purpose of the conditional. We'll come back to you with the final development plan once everything has been, all the T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
So before I ask the council, I do have one question.
Of course.
The thing that we've heard the most consternation about has been the traffic. Can you address how you plan to ensure that only the approved routes are going to be taking place?
Sure, of course. So obviously, we've got contractors that we hire to do the work. And before we grant any contracts with them, we're very specific about what the routes are, what the city has asked us to do. So we do the best we can to do that. We've got maps with them. We're going to be putting up signs that will show routes that they have to take, be very specific about it. So, I can't guarantee we'll be perfect. We'll obviously take care of any issues that come up, and I think we have done that. And again, we do make it a priority as we're contracting that they know what the routes are. So it's important to us as it's important to you.
So, and if residents observe that not being followed, I know we've gotten emails of people with concerns. What would you suggest that we direct them to do?
I mean, first and foremost, I think the city, obviously would have to be notified and then obviously let us know. And we'll obviously take it in our hands with our contractors. So at some point in time, if they're not abiding by the rules, we'll just get another contractor. So that's how we typically deal with that.
Okay, that's fair. All right, as I like to do, Councilmember Tinlin.
Well, I'll start with this, and naturally, I was on the planning commission through this whole life cycle as well.
Yes.
So I think a lot of, for me at least, I'm supportive of this because we're essentially granting a conditional approval for the 16 homes that have already been sold. I'm anxious to get those families in there as well. Those were property taxes and revenues coming in. And the fact that you're going to give a $200,000 bond on the things that have not been completed yet is comforting. And also, I love to read stuff, so Chapter 34, Article X is pretty dated as far as an ordinance, so we should probably put a pin in that sometime to fix that. Not saying we're going to have a lot of HOAs, but something that will be a little bit more easier to manage as a council. And I do appreciate the administration kind of kicking it to us. I know there's two sides of that, but I appreciate they got council involved to make that decision for this development.
Great, thank you.
And that's it.
All right. Councilmember Spishak.
Yeah, I echo Councilmember Tinlin. I think that getting you guys, moved ahead is we appreciate it, needed to get those families in for the school district. And I also appreciated Mr. Frank coming up and talking as well. I think that it's an opportunity to show the continued work that we do with the school board and just the city as a whole. Thank you.
I don't have any questions, and I'm glad to get this moving forward, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yep, I just want to make sure, so the $200,000 cash bond, do we feel that's sufficient to complete all outstanding public improvements if there were ever any issue, like defaulting, like on the public improvement part? Do we feel like that's enough to cover?
Yes, we do. So when this first came up, they presented a number below that. Our engineers reviewed that, and we came up with $200,000 as a fair amount based on what was open at the time.
And with inflation costs being what they are right now, too, like that also includes that?
Yes.
Okay. And no certificates of occupancy will be issued until all public improvements are complete?
Correct.
And final approval is granted?
And that's just based on the condominium plan itself. So they'll have to come back to get the final condominium plan before anyone can move into the homes. So it's implied that a C of O won't be issued until that approval comes.
Just want to make sure we got enough money to cover everything. So, cool.
And those get issued on an individual basis as the buildings get completed?
That's correct. So pending city council's vote, if this is supported, there can be 5 building permits issued tomorrow. We've got 10 ready to go as well. So we're trying to get them ready so they can start as soon as possible. And then once those homes are done and all the public improvements are completed, then those people can technically start moving in.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, Nick, for fielding questions ahead of time for us, too.
Councilmember Peltonen.
No really questions from me, but I've been following this. I went to Shalom. I watched the fireworks from across the street. I've had enough time to get over that our spot is not going to be the same anymore. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing new community.
All right. Thank you.
All right. If there's no more questions, discussion, call for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yes.
All right, we just have given conditional approval for the site condominium at the former Shalom school site, parcel ID 162033179043. So that's been approved. All right, the next item on the agenda is consideration of the DDA director position, job description.
So I move to approve the DDA director position as approved by the DDA board on February 25th, 2026. I'm going to adjust this motion a little bit, removing the reference pursuant to Michigan Public Act 57.
Support.
Support. Mr. Riker?
Yes, ma'am. In 2018, Public Act 57, Downtown Development Authority Act, MCL 125.4201, was amended and recodified. Under the amended act, Section 125.4213, subsection 1, provides that the authority may employ a director, subject to the approval of the governing body. This language clarifies that while the Downtown Development Authority has the power to employ a director, such employment is subject to the approval of the City Council as the governing body. At the latest DDA special meeting held on February 25th, 2026, the Clawson DDA Board reviewed and approved the director position and corresponding job description. In accordance with Public Act 57 as amended, the position is now being submitted to City Council for formal approval. This action represents compliance with the current statute.
So I'm going to let Councilmember Rinkovich kick off the conversation since she modified the motion.
Yeah, so I had some conflicts with the language around Public Act 57 and then our accreditation. I want to be clear that I'm very much in support of this DDA director role and getting a director for our DDA. I think it's important for accreditation purposes and having dedicated leadership for our DDA. And I understand that there are some financial realities that make the split role necessary at this time. So for me, I think with the job description as it currently reflects the split supervisory structure, the director remaining half city employee and then also being under the supervision of the DDA board as well as the city manager, I think that therein lies some conflict with Michigan Public Act 57. So there's where there's some categorization of structure under that act. So with that, my intent removing that statutory reference, it's simply to ensure our motion accurately reflects the structure we're approving. So as we work to regain Main Street Oakland accreditation, clarity in our governance structure and reporting lines matter. So that's why I moved to amend this motion here and push discussion forward. So I'm happy to keep chatting about this.
No,
but
okay.
I also want the DDA. I want others
Okay.
to talk too. So yeah.
So based on what you just said in browsing through it, the reference of Public Act 57 nowhere appears in this job description at all. It is just in the motion. That was your only objection. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah. So it's more for clarification on the motion and council and, again, more on that front. So super in support of all of the rest of it. So.
Mr. Riker, you had your hand up?
Yes, ma'am. That reference was there to basically point out, like, historically why it's coming before you, because you've had somebody in the past that was the DDA director, actually even since 2018. So it was just to give you some historical context.
Okay, fair. Councilmember Peltonen, any comments, thoughts?
Well, I thought for a while that Kristen already was the DDA director full-time and kind of embarrassed myself there, so I think she'd make a great one. But I didn't see that we're doing that part. We're just approving that the position.
So, just, and to your point, I mean, she's been fabulous in acting the role. Obviously, everyone loves her, and she does a great job. One of the issues was with the Main Street accreditation, that there was a change in our accreditation, and correct me if I'm speaking wrong here, but there was a change in our accreditation, and some of us participated in meetings with the Main Street America people, and they had several things that they thought that we could do to help regain our accreditation. One of the key things for them was making sure that we had a job description, that we sort of had a structure with the role and someone specifically appointed to fulfill those duties and that sort of thing. So that's part of what's happening here, is just an attempt to say, hey, we're serious, she does a real job and she has real duties and real responsibilities and she's super fly. And so just to try and regain that accreditation is part of what's going on here too.
Those are the exact words I was going to use, yeah.
Councilmember Slawinski.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Councilmember Spishak.
No questions here. Just echo the amazing support Kristen has provided the city, the DDA, and me in general. She's helped me out a lot, so I appreciate her.
Councilmember Tinley.
I got to have a couple questions, right? So,
Go for
just with us removing that Michigan Public Act 57, that doesn't do anything with the job description. Is this still a dual reporting role?
I don't think it has any bearing on the context of council's action.
Okay, that's just all the clarification I need, because I've read everything else and I'm good with that.
All right. Hearing no further discussion, let's have a roll call.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen?
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
All right. We have just approved the DDA director position and job description, and thank you all for all the nice comments. Yay. Next, item 9C, consideration of revocation of the alley vacation and the release of the reserved utility easement at 150 North Main Street and 36 East Lincoln Avenue Planned Unit Development.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the revocation of the alley vacation and release of reserved utility easement at 150 North Main Street and 36 East Lincoln Avenue, planned unit development as presented, and authorize the city manager and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city council, city of Clawson.
Support.
Nick, I assume this is you again? Am I wrong? Nope, sorry.
To paraphrase the attached letter, on November 20th, 1979, the city council adopted a resolution vacating a certain alley east of North Main Street between Lincoln and Bowers. The original vacation resolution reserved an easement for public utilities over, in, and through the vacated alley, which is the reserved utility easement, which is no longer necessary per the development agreement. City attorney is here for any questions.
So this is for the development at the old PNC thing, and this is so they can get going because the utilities have been the hang-up, and this is part of the hang-up. Is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
True. Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
That's my synopsis. Any questions looking this way? No. Any questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Rinkovich.
So I was doing my research, because that's who I am. So I just had some questions when I was researching. When I was reading, it looked like before we could revoke, they would have to be removed, or they would have to be relocated first, the utilities, before we could move anything. Maybe I'm putting the words in, is it revoked, relocated, what are we?
Before
like
they
the
can
utilities,
Before they can relocate anything, this must happen.
this has to happen, so, okay. So, and this is is this from 1979? This
The
this is what
original
we've got here?
vacation.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And when we revoke this, can you walk us through,
So this alley was vacated.
Because I asked Nick, and he was like, ask Rennis tonight, so.
Here we are.
Yeah.
In the simplest possible terms, you had an alley that was, belonged to the city.
Okay.
Eventually is vacated, given attached to this particular property. An easement was reserved right on this alley for purposes of use in the future. Now, council has approved this PUD and development of the entire parcel. As part of that development, they're relocating the easement, whatever utility poles they may have there, whatever they have, as part of the general development. So because this is still in the books, right? This is something that is recorded with the Oakland County Register of Deeds. Council must take this action in order for them to be able to free themselves and start developing and relocating.
So are we giving it over to the,
You're taking one final, this final action to be able to permit them to.
release this to them, essentially?
Yes,
This
ma'am.
part of it to them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what if something falls through with their plans for whatever reason?
They're still going to.
And we've let this go then?
Let nothing go.
Okay.
Ultimately, this is just an easement and location of the easement.
Okay.
What if, God forbid, something like that were to happen? What would happen is nothing, because obviously it's still the same parcel. It would still apply the same way. Whomever is going to try to do anything with respect to the parcel, they may choose to keep the easement or the utilities where they are, but nothing changes as far as their legal standing, their actual standing with respect to the development.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure we're covered.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
all. Okay.
So we're saying, we release you, go be free.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Did you call me? I don't think you called me, but I say yes. Did I say yes? Okay, all right, I remember. I was daydreaming. Okay, so we have approved the revocation of the alley and release the utility easement at 150 North Main Street and 36 East Lincoln Avenue. So they are free to do all the utility stuff they want. All right. Consideration of, the next item is consideration of the special event request by the Clausen Parks and Rec to conduct the combined Fall Claus and Paws Festival event September 26, 2026 at the Clausen City Park with the Clausen Chamber of Commerce. Oh,
Madam Mayor, I move the special event request by the Clausen Parks and Recreation to conduct the combined Fall Claus and Paws Festival event at the Clausen City Park on Saturday, September 26, 2026, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. be approved with the following conditions. All participants shall execute a hold and harmless identification agreement.
support. And I understand, Councilmember Spishak, you want to recuse yourself because of your association with the Clausen Chamber of Commerce, so thank you. And I believe you also said there was a member of the chamber here to,
Yeah, we have Kristen Tucker here.
hey, Kristen Tucker.
And I'll
come on up.
also be here if there are any questions, along with Shar as well.
Yep,
So anybody can answer some good questions if you got them.
so come on up. Is there anything you want to say before we start questioning you and drilling you with shining the light on you and asking all kinds of questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Is there any questions, Councilmember Peltonen? Councilmember Rinkovich? Councilmember Slawinski? Councilmember Tinlin? So this is the traditional, there'll be dogs up for adoption. You're going to try really hard to get the coffee vendor back. He hasn't been there in a couple of years, and so I need coffee. And this is, but it's a combination event with different vendors and the dog stuff. And then you guys don't do, or you do the walk still or no?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
individuals register, and then they walk around the park.
And that's it? It's just like a little parade of doggies and
Yes.
whatever? All right. All right. Well, if there's no other conversation about this, and did you have a question?
I do have a question. This question might be for the city manager. Because it has vendors, Sean was up earlier and he was making the comment that he wanted to make, was questioning that we're gonna, making it fair for all of the people for all of the events.
So the food thing is what the.
And so I was questioning, is this also set up exactly how the Clausen Fest is going to be set up?
I wouldn't say exactly, but anyone that is a vendor will be treated the same as other vendors in other events.
One of the things that does differentiate this from Clausen Fest is both the Chamber and Parks and Rec are nonprofit organizations.
It's a city event for all intents and purposes.
Right. So, but as far as making sure the food vendors have the, whatever the stuff
that will be the
that
same.
all happen is just of your question?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And
All
just
right,
for
Park-
clarification, if I may,
Yeah.
this is the second annual combined, this is the second time we've combined this event.
Yep.
Yes. And that'll be the same as it was last year? Okay, all right. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, and there's the closes with the traditional bonfire and all the super fun stuff that we have every year. So, all right. If there's no other questions or comments, roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
All right, we have just approved the special event request by the Clausen Parks and Rec to conduct the combined Fall Clausen Paws Festival on September 26, 2026 at the Clausen Park with the Clausen Chamber of Commerce, so mark your calendars. All right. Item 9E, consideration of scheduling a council workshop for the purposes of establishing FY 2026-2027 goals and objectives between the city council and the city administration.
Madam Mayor, I move that the City Council workshop for Thursday, March 19th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Committee Room for the purposes of establishing goals and objectives for the upcoming 2026-2027 fiscal year between City Council and the City Administration be approved.
Support.
You want to go?
Yes, ma'am. Vetriano Consulting was retained at the January 2026 City Council meeting to facilitate the establishment of goals and objectives for City Council and the administration. Initial efforts were robust discussion between James and individual members of Council. This proposed workshop is intended to be a sharing of aggregate information coupled with collective collaboration to establish new fiscal year goals and objectives. Individual members of Council have all confirmed they are available on this proposed date and time. Unless that's changed.
No. The question always comes up when we ever have workshops, is there going to be public comment?
We can make sure that there's public comment.
Okay, all right, we'll make sure that happens. Councilmember Tinley.
Is this going to be on the YouTube channel as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect.
Councilmember Bishop.
No questions for me. I'm excited.
All right. Councilmember Slawinski.
Yeah, Mr. Vetrano, he's going to be there as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's our mediator, right?
Yep. Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Councilmember Pelton.
No questions. I'm looking forward to it.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
None on this one.
I would second that. I really enjoyed speaking to Mr. Vetrino. I think he was very productive. I'm excited to see the outcome for this. So let's have roll call.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
Yes. All right, so we have just approved the date of Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. in the Clausen City Hall Community Room for purposes of establishing the goals and objectives. So also mark your calendar for this important workshop. All right. Next item is consideration of discussion of an ordinance to amend the Clausen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, City Council, Division 2, Rules of Order and Procedures, amending Section 2-63, Order of Business in conjunction with the council's rules and procedures.
Madam Mayor, I move to host a discussion of an ordinance to amend the City of Clausen's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, City Council, Division 2, Rules of Order and Procedures, amending Section 2-63, Order of Business in conjunction with the council's rules and procedures.
Support.
All right. Let's start out with a robust discussion of this topic. I'm going to go through and let's start with Councilmember Tinlin, because I always do.
Here we go again, all right? So I just want some clarification. When I saw this on the agenda, I kind of went back and looked at our notes as a body. And we had just talked about the, essentially, let me get this right, Section 2-63, Order of Business, essentially our rules and procedures. And there was a lot of discussion about the Clausen Code of Ordinances, and that should come first, right? And we had talked as a body to really talk about our rules and procedures first. This is where we had a discussion on the words of wisdom, words of inspiration, which many of you hear today. And I think we had a good discussion on continuance of that with maybe the spin of the council members sponsoring that. And that's why I was looking for the details tonight, but I don't see that in the documents. So those are my comments, and I'm looking for discussion as well.
So if I could just, I thank you, Councilmember Tinlin. If we could take up that topic, and for everyone's edification, the compromise that had been proposed at the last council meeting, and the council seemed to dig it, was the to make the words of inspiration, take it out of the administration's hands, take it out of the public hands, and have a rotating schedule where each council member on a rotating schedule would be responsible for that particular item, and that was a way to be able to address the multiplicity of approaches to the words of inspiration. So if someone wanted to do a prayer, they could do a prayer. If someone wanted to say a poem, they could say a poem. If someone wanted a moment of silence, they could do that, and so that we could an attempt to address the wide range of interests and ideas that the community has. I was kind of expecting to see, because we all seem to think that was the way forward we wanted to go, I was expecting to see that somehow memorialized in the procedures and rules.
I guess, since I presume you're looking at
Well,
me.
I'm looking at you, so yeah.
So I guess I presume that council would have a discussion with respect to the entire formation of it, because that was only one of the items, and we would make whatever changes in the totality of it before, and you would have some either more formalized agreement or vote to be able to get us to that location.
So
But however council wishes to do, obviously it makes no difference to the rest of us.
So I can make a motion, and I will make a motion that
One minor recommendation.
Go ahead. Oh, of
Because I
course.
imagine you were talking, I don't know if is the rest of the rules of procedures, is the rest of the document of, something that you're signing on?
No, I got stuff that I've asked for before that still is in here that has not been changed.
I'm taking notes.
Okay, well, you took them last time. I'm just saying.
I'm listening.
So just to codify, put it out there, I would like to make a motion that the practice of the words of inspiration being assigned on a rotating schedule to the members of council be included and outlined with instructions in our rules of procedure document. Don't be scared.
No, just point of order, we have another motion on the floor, though, right?
Well, you're to host a
Discussion.
Okay, all right.
We're discussing. This
Then
is
we
a
can amend,
discussion.
right,
yeah.
okay. That's what I was hoping. And if not, I'm already writing, I write procedures for a living. I'd be more than happy to set up the protocols for that rotational activity. So that's what I was hoping to see in the
Which would be
document,
cool.
right?
I mean,
Yep.
so if we make we need a second before we start discussing.
Support.
Thank you. So I'm, more than happy to, I mean, you get the gist of it.
Yes.
Do you want to write that up and send it off to Mr. Nushai to include going forward? That would be great. So thank you. I just grabbed hold of your whole conversation, so I appreciate that. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, again, I just thought that was a good meeting of the middle. I'm a devout Catholic, but I also believe in inclusivity on both sides of the fence, and we should have respect on both sides of the fence. So I thought that was a really good centering point for the community, because I think I was very clear. I see it as positive, and we need other things to do, so that just move our community forward. So that's it.
Thank you. All right, and so that's your comments on the rules and procedures. Since we're having discussions, do we want to just all talk about the rules and procedures and then do the ordinance next? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, Councilmember Spishak.
I had nothing to add on the rules and procedures. I think I would echo Councilmember Tinlin on the words of inspiration, providing that opportunity to allow everybody to have voice heard.
Councilmember Slawinski.
So the draft rules and procedures, February 26, 2026. The only thing that I saw when I was going through it, let me pull up my notes, was I noticed that there's still cable TV, cable cast in some of the descriptions. And I'm pretty sure that we no longer do that, so I would like to see those removed.
What item, what section is that? You're seeing that?
Section 8, cable TV, video and audio recording policy. It's
because he had both the old one and the new one. I just want to make sure. Oh, I see right here. Okay. It says, so all meetings of the council shall be held in council chambers, and shall be cable cast, video streamed, and recorded.
Maybe soften the language?
Excuse my ignorance, do we not do cable anymore? I guess I didn't know.
We don't, right?
Right, you can confirm that with
Right.
Nick. We used to do that
I know
on a
we-
cable channel, but
You have Comcast, doesn't it play on Comcast?
no.
Not anymore.
The equipment, so you want to take this, Nick?
The equipment got very dated, and it was going to be a very substantial investment in terms of dollars. And based on YouTube, everyone generally has access to YouTube and can view the meetings there. And we have not gotten a large increase of not having it on cable, and it's not been on cable for Clerk Smith. How long? It's been a few months.
Yes.
Okay, and we haven't had anyone complain.
So probably would be sufficient to rewrite that just to say all meetings of council shall be held in council chambers and video streamed and recorded. That covers both.
I think that leaves it broad. That way we have options if we go in a different direction from YouTube, et cetera. I know some cities do it on Facebook, so it leaves us some options.
Removed.
All right. Is that the only place you saw it in there? Good catch.
It
Gold
is.
star.
Thank you. Nope, I think that's all that I saw. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Rikovich.
Yeah, I don't have anything major in this area right now. I think the one area we're still very focused on is the words of inspiration and the order of business. So,
Okay.
yep.
Councilmember Peltonen.
Yeah, I have a few things on it because I like how you said, well, he included the other one too, because it's kind of hard to decipher what is from 2020 and what's from 2026, especially because words of inspiration hasn't been codified anywhere until this one. Which it's like, I get now people are saying, oh, you have to define words of inspiration as this thing we agreed on. But since this whole time, it's never been in the ordinance. So it's to say we want to match the ordinance to match the rules of procedure it seems like we should have the rules of procedure match the ordinance, because as we said before, you can always add, but you can't take away.
So I get what you're saying, and I think what I hear you saying a little bit too is we had talked about getting a red line version.
That's the word, yeah.
You know, and I do owe you a sincere apology with respect to that. I, of course, having never done it with council before, I operated on account of my usual procedure. City manager was kind enough and gracious enough to let me know well after, you know, once this was sent to you. So you're correct, we did speak with respect to that, but having never done it, I completely neglected to do so. I am right now tracking my changes as we're having this conversation. So what will be produced to you at the next meeting will be a red line.
So our next one can be more red line.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
okay.
That would be
So
really
I
helpful.
you know, and I apologize because I imagine it is a little bit of a hassle, and you're exactly right. That is the juxtaposition that you're dealing with, basically how or you're ultimately voting on what you're going to match, what order. That's why we ultimately, I told the city manager that he should produce both documents to you along with both versions so that you're aware.
Right.
But this will make it much easier come next time.
But my question was, because we had lengthy discussion, that we can always make our agendas however each body wants. So I was just wondering why we're adding stuff that I thought we weren't.
So we're going to talk about the ordinance next. So,
okay, yeah,
so,
then this is the rest of the stuff.
So this is just about this document, and we're going to get everything out of our system about this document, and then we'll tackle that one.
I'll have more comments after we get the red line version.
Perfect. Yes, for sure. One of the things that, so I have a couple things that I thought we talked about before. I can give you this afterwards, but
I'm listening, ma'am. Yes, I'll take notes right now.
under the workshops, and it was part of the question that I asked, on page under 3, it says there shall be no public comment at workshop meetings unless the mayor and council choose. And the issue I have with it being that way is that the mayor and council would have to choose at the workshop, and so the public wouldn't know to come to the workshop that there's, so I think that I would like to see, and it can be up for discussion, but I would like to see there always being the opportunity, just like there is at these other meetings, for public comment at workshops, because, so people can come and know that they're going to have that opportunity.
And I imagine all of you are in agreement.
I can make a motion for that change, or?
So long as, because that's a
Okay, so
fairly de
discussion.
minimis, you know,
Yeah.
if there's,
Any objections? Speak now for all of you.
As long as we have the same time limit, right?
Pardon?
As long as we have the same time limit in a workshop, that what we get 4 minutes?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We would, and that is taught, it is spoken about later here, public comment being that. And then,
and it would read, Madam Mayor, there shall be public comment at workshop meetings.
yeah, that would be great. Then, I didn't understand this statement. Citizens shall have, this is under meeting procedures. Citizens shall have a reasonable opportunity to be heard under such rules and regulations as the council may prescribe. I mean,
These are your rules and procedure. It's referencing basically this document and your ordinance.
so because we say here, or we go on to say that there's public comment, it's like saying we're doing that. I mean, it just seemed like it covered that twice, whatever. And then we have, item K says department comments. That's not what we do.
That covers the entire, city clerk, city manager, and city attorney.
But the department's also the DPW and the Parks and Rec, and so maybe city administration or something more reflective of.
And if council so prefers to match what we currently do in this department, we can outline it specifically to say city attorney, or in the order that we have it, which is city clerk, city attorney, city manager, I believe.
I don't know, thoughts, I might be being too picky, whatever. Okay, well, maybe we do that in red line. Go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am.
And then, so in the same section, meeting procedures, item 5, we had talked before about it being important to say that if there's any committees that are established, that they be required to keep minutes as well.
I'm sorry.
5 minutes of city council meetings. So it talks about there's a journal of regular, journal of each regular, special, workshop, and joint meeting shall be kept by the clerk and signed by the mayor. I guess that we had talked about if we have any ad hoc committees, we want them also to be required to keep minutes of
So to add ad hoc meetings as well as what you're saying.
ad hoc committees, yeah.
Ad hoc committees, pardon me.
Yep. And then, under page 6, operational guidelines, regular scheduled committee meetings are intended to follow the attendance, blah, blah, blah. We had talked about removing the to prevent inadvertent violations because, as we all remember, been there, done that, and that's not a thing.
Where are you at, ma'am?
Where you,
So on page 6, operational guidelines and functional structure, the second from the bottom of that section, regular scheduled meetings are intended to allow regular attendance by committee members, the city manager, and applicable staff. It goes on to discourage other council members from attending committee meetings, and we had talked about removing that last time. And then just to,
may I, so you're talking about the entire section, Madam Mayor, to prevent inadvertent violations, all the way down to the end of that bullet point?
yes.
Okay. And I presume, okay.
And then the length of presentation, this is just, it says, members of the public shall not speak unless recognized by the chair. Members of the public shall be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes during, it says, any public hearing, and I think it should say each, because you can talk items on the agenda and items not on the agenda. So I thought each, like, we're not going to give you 4 minutes total for the whole meeting. You can have 4 minutes each time. I'm almost done, I promise. Oh, and then the final thing I think I have, so we had talked before about, it's on page 7, under 4. We say there shall be no audience comment by voice, clapping, or otherwise showing approval or disapproval. I mean, we don't enforce that. I mean, we don't say...
So technically, and entirely, obviously, this body's pleasure, technically, as you know, you've also adopted, by ordinance, we've adopted Robert's Rules of Order, which stands for that exact
That's what you said last time.
proposition.
So, but it seems weird to say we're not going to do it and we do it.
I could agree more. That's why we look up to you to be able to bring down the hammer around here.
Stop being happy.
Yeah, but
Is there a way to soften that, or maybe say it a different way? The chair is responsible for encouraging appropriate public decorum in accordance with Robert Rules of Order, or something along those lines.
Yes,
Make
ma'am.
me responsible, and then yell at me after I don't do it. All right, that was my list. I can pass this down to you if you can read my writing. If you
Happy
want
to
it.
do so. I took notes, but yes, happy to.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Before we move on to the actual ordinance, anything else about the rules and procedures document? I guess, sorry. So that red line version will be available on March 17th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Awesome. Excellent. And be on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Let's open discussion then about the ordinances that were included in the packet. Councilmember Peltonen, you started talking about that. Let's let you continue your thoughts with that.
Well, I was just saying that rules of procedure from 2020 and what we had talked about before with the order, it just doesn't have words of inspiration at all. It just says the meeting called to order, pledge of allegiance, public comment, approval of consent agenda. And I just thought we had talked about keeping it simple and shorter like that, because then each council can decide however they want to proceed with the meeting. So I just don't know why we added it when it has never been there. So it's not taking anything away. it's not. It's, I just don't know why we're adding. Wasn't there before.
So to jump in, you are absolutely right. We had a long conversation at the last council meeting about not wanting that to be codified in the ordinance. And so we were all pretty specific about not wanting that spelled out in the ordinance. But I promised to shut up and let you guys talk. So are you?
Well, that was
Okay,
what.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Councilmember Rigovich.
Agreed. I think
That I should shut up.
Yeah, no, like that's just, I think that was the one thing we agreed on. It wasn't about, it was just not codifying anything. Like, not being against it, not having it anywhere, just not codifying it anywhere officially. So.
Okay, Councilmember Slawinski.
I just have a question I need clarification on. And we're not talking about the rules and procedures anymore.
No, moved on to the ordinance. So there's the old ordinance, section 2-93, order of business, and then there's the draft of that the city put
okay.
forward. Yeah. So page 56, if you're looking at the.
So this is a new ordinance? This is an updated one?
The city manager would like to be recognized.
So, some history. So, in this discussion, it came up about the section 263 about, I think it was on January 20th, about the order of business. And I was like, we haven't done this since I've been here 4 years. And I think, Mayor, you said we weren't doing it this way in 2018. This ordinance that's in draft form is simply reflective of how we do business now. That's it.
Understood. And I guess if I could speak for what I hear being said is and you, Mr. Dushai, have always said that the ordinance can have less and we can always do more than what the ordinance says. So I think that was the spirit in which we were thinking of this ordinance being written, that we, and I was kind of picturing it also the way the old one was written, where it says, like, sort of talks about topics as opposed to specific, although it does say it's in the following order, but that's, I mean, so general, we'll have public comment, we'll have, these different items versus, a full agenda that we're expected to follow. But I'll let everyone else talk, and then we can have you impart your legal thoughts on it. And then we'll go from there. So
to finish my question, this was a draft from the conversation that we had on January 20th.
This is a draft that's reflective of how
we
the
do
city
business.
council
Okay.
has done business since before 2018, which is all I can speak to based on the testimony of the mayor.
And before 2018, we did not have words of inspiration.
I don't know when words of inspiration came in.
It was actually called an invocation back in the day.
That's right.
Yeah, and in 18, let me think here. It would have been in 2020 under, yeah.
So it was always there. We just switched it from invocation to words of inspiration.
And the intention at that time, the conversations that we had at that time, because there was discussion of removing it all, but the intention of moving it to words of inspiration was to move it away from the religious connotations at the time, was the intention of why that change was made at the time.
So my last comment is, I like the way that this draft is, because that's how we're currently operating. And even if we leave the words of inspiration or people coming up and talking on the podium before the meeting, I would like to keep it like this, like where the draft is.
Okay.
Are my comments.
Okay. Councilmember Spishak?
I probably echo the difference to that is the conversation that we had at the previous council meeting, we had an idea that made a lot of sense to everybody, and, it was sort of something that we thought we were going to set in motion. And per the one above on page 54, the section 2-63, there's no specific set for the words of inspiration in there. And I think most of us came into agreement that there was no need to add it, but it's not something that's going to be taken away. It's going to be something where we do the rotating and have the opportunity for everybody to do it. And I think that that's the best medium when it comes to that, because there's people who will be on side A and people who will be on side B, and I think we need to be able to have that conversation as a whole. So I would probably lean more towards not codifying it in the one that's on page 56, as it's stated. That's all I got.
All right, Councilmember Tinlin.
Last statements, right? So I'm in the camp that I want a better process around the words of inspiration and getting that into our protocols. And I think there's a maybe conception out there, well, if we codify the words of inspiration, that'll stop future councils from changing it. That's not the case. If they really want to remove this from our agenda, we can, the next council, right? And then they could change the ordinance. So I'm okay with leaving the ordinance alone for a while. Focus on our protocols and procedures, and also I want to see how that process goes. If we do decide that a council member will sponsor the words of inspiration, will it really work? But I want to keep it there. I'm very, very clear. I want the words of inspiration. I think it's valuable, and I'd like to keep it in the agenda for sure.
So you just said something that made me think. So I have two questions now. So the whole discussion of updating the ordinance came as a outgrowth of our discussion about our rules and procedure thing. But you just said, why not wait to change the ordinance until maybe we're done with our, and comfortable with how that is? So that's an idea. I'm just throwing that out there. We can talk about it. But my other question would be, it goes back to this ordinance being very, very general in the topics that it talks about, as opposed to this is the agenda, boom, 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 boom. It just says that the business shall be taken up for consideration, and those things will happen in this order. Would it also be possible to sort of relax the ordinance along those same lines to say the council during the meeting shall consider, these things, and if those things are, like, for example, the Pledge of Allegiance isn't even on the old ordinance. So maybe if the ordinance just identified the items that the council should be talking about at every meeting, it should allow for public comment, it should allow for proclamations and presentations, it should allow for the consent agenda, it should allow for new business, and just have those business items that the council is to take up at every council meeting, because we can always do more. But if it just identifies sort of the business of the meeting and just has those elements in the ordinance, would that be a way to go as well?
Yes, ma'am, but I think what you currently have is precisely that. The current 263 stands for roll call, approval of minutes, petitions, communications, introduction, adoptions of resolutions and ordinances, reports of officers, unfinished business, new business, miscellaneous, general public discussion, appropriation, and adjournment. The only thing I would say there is that the order is somewhat different than the order that typically the city manager historically has presented your agenda to you, but that's precisely what you're addressing with that. So ultimately speaking, the answer to your question in different fashion would be, yes, you can have the rules of procedure that you will then adopt next time based on the changes, and deal with the ordinance if you wish at next time or down the road, or not at all.
So we could leave this in place, or if the only necessary change might be so you don't have to issue them a ticket for violating the ordinance for running the agenda wrong. It would be to put it more in the order that we do it, is the only thing we would have to do.
Yeah, and remember, again, because we've adopted Robert's Rules of Order, which does not necessarily require, like 80% of the items that you've got listed at 263.
Okay.
Pursuant to Robert's Rules, it could be very bare bones. However, every council that's ever served in recent memory has always wanted to have an agenda that is like clearly outlined and designated, so people can be, obviously aware of everything that's happening and well in advance at the production of the agenda, for those reasons. So, ultimately, this accomplishes that, and your rules of procedure have, some sort of delineation, if it meets with your approval, to be able to accomplish, the agenda, to reflect the agenda as is presented by the city manager.
So Councilmember Tinlin saves the day with his comments.
That's kind of scary right there, so.
So let's go through, what we're talking about now is just leaving this as it is, perhaps, and we just focus on our rules and procedures document and get that to be how we want to conduct ourselves and let sleeping dogs lie, as they say. So that's our discussion. I don't need a motion or anything like that. We can just say that's what we want to do for the moment. All right. Yes, sir.
So for understanding, we will just simply bring back the rules and procedures edited version that the city attorney has for your consideration, and we'll even have it under unfinished business.
Okay.
Yeah, the category we rarely use.
Let's use unfinished business. All right, awesome. I like it. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So then, will these things will be changed to order, but nothing will be added from these?
No, we're not doing anything.
We're not going to touch it, and whatever the will of council is. I mean, if you wanted to, we could, it sounds like there's one, maybe two things that are of concern. You put them both side by side and be like, council members, pick.
So, and I think we're sort of addressing who we want to be and how we want to conduct ourselves with this rules and procedure document. That's what we're going to sort of speak to when things come up. And so that's what we're going to do.
So for housekeeping, do you want just two versions of the ordinance or not? So then, someone going to tell me when they want it to
We're not going to talk about the ordinance anymore for right now.
Okay.
We're putting it in the, we don't want to talk about it bin.
All right.
If I may,
New-
for
it's a new item.
for housekeeping, just so that, when we come back, we're ready to go. I took the time to write out the section, if you could just hear it out. Just adding a new section with respect to explaining words of inspiration. Words of inspiration shall be offered at each regular meeting of the City Council following the Pledge of Allegiance. Each council member shall be responsible on a rotating basis for selecting and inviting a person of his or her choosing to deliver the words of inspiration. The rotation shall follow alphabetical order by surname and shall advance one position at each successive regular meeting. The words of inspiration may be spiritual, secular, or reflective of in nature and shall not exceed 4 minutes in duration. I use the 4 minutes.
I like it.
For preservation purposes. If the designated council member is unable to secure a speaker for a given meeting, the member may deliver the words of inspiration personally or may yield to the next member in rotation. City clerk shall maintain the schedule of rotation and shall note the speaker in the minutes of each meeting.
Love it. Any objections?
No. What was the part that you said? So if somebody can't
You can
fulfill.
do it yourself.
You can do it yourself.
No, if like then they do the next one.
Or you can pass it on to the next person, the right to.
Okay.
So just let's flesh this out a little bit more then. So on the agenda, let's say it is Councilmember Tinlin's spot and he gets Father Tony to come in, and then it's Councilmember Pelton's time. Are we going to internally track that? Are we going to publicly say who's responsible for it? Because the part of the challenge is like leaving a coordinated effort to you guys as elected officials instead of administration.
That's right. That's why that's why, I'm including the city clerk here, because I think and this is not a personal opinion, this is just for these reasons, you should have always a point of contact at administration, city clerk, to maintain this and go through the order with each of you.
So just throwing this out there, maybe at an agenda item is to approve a calendar so that we could do, and like next year when we do the calendars for 26, we could have also include whose turn it is for everything. So we can do a calendar, go in alphabetical order, starting with the 17th and going on, or just go from there, but we could make it public, have a general agreement so that everyone knows when it's their turn in advance, and just have a calendar
And then
established.
Councilmember Pelton, and if she's on the agenda as like words of inspiration for Councilmember Pelton, she may elect to bring somebody in, she may elect to say it herself, or she may say, I want to do a moment of silence, or today, we're not going to do them. I don't know if that was something you'd say, but maybe it is, or anyone else would say. So I'm just giving the scenario so that we could potentially, like, you're kind of getting into the eaches for it, but it's only going to take one time out of 7 where someone drops the ball, and it's going to happen. And how do we deal with that?
So you can make it the responsibility of the mayor to pick up the ball. So if we get to the meeting and someone's not prepared, then it falls to the chair to take care of that issue.
Fair.
Yeah, that's happened lots of
That I was going to recommend that.
Thanks a lot.
Pro Tem's not here, you could say it's pro.
I know, we could make him do it. No, I think that's fair. No, good discussion. Anything else? Cool.
So will we, just to clarify it again, so will we have something submitted that's in the packet, or do we have a deadline?
So if we're in agreement, I'm alphabetically the first person, I'm going to take the 17th. And then,
Well, you can't take the 17th because it's not approved yet.
that's
So
fair.
once it's done,
okay.
we can do that.
Once it's done, we can approve that. So as part of, so how about this? In the agenda with finalizing the document, there's also an agenda item of approving the calendar for it.
Yeah, fine.
Makes sense. Oh, look at us solving the world's problems. All right. Are we done? You done? You done? You done? We're good. You done? Good. We're good. All right, now I gotta find my agenda. Hold on.
It's not on the agenda.
Hold on. It's in one of these papers. I apologize. Okay. All right, I'm back on track here. All right, so we're going to close the discussion. We have no unfinished business this time. We will next time. We're moving on then to public comments for items not on the agenda. We invite those who would like to speak to items not on the agenda to the podium. We will give you 4 minutes. We ask that you identify yourself as a resident or a visitor to this fair city. And just as a reminder, public comment's not a back and forth, but anything that you do mention during this time, we'll try and address through council comments or administration comments and try and get answers to your question. Go.
Thank you. Diane from Clausen. I live in Bowers, that's right behind Ace. And they have parking on one side of the street, which is good, but it's on our side. And when the Eagles Club has something going on, and all those bars has something going on, guess what? They are just piled, and sometimes we can't even get out of our driveway. So, easy fix, move it to the other side. So that's what I suggest. Just take those signs, put them on the other side. So that's my.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else wishing to speak to items not on the agenda?
Ron McCauley, 1008 West Selfridge. I probably missed this, but the construction that's going on at Shalom, are the trucks required to go certain ways when they're full and empty? Is that right?
I promise you I will ask the city manager that question during city manager comments. Okay? I will ask that question during administration comments. Okay? So stay tuned. We'll get to you. So this is not a back and forth. We can't answer questions, but we'll make sure it gets answered during the course of the meeting. Anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Karen Waddy, I live in Clawson. Just a real quick comment. I'm assuming, Ms. Reikovich, that you backspotted me or your knees are bothering you because you boldly did not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance today. I worked all day. I did running around because my daughter's birthday. I had 2 really bad knees, and I fell on one at work the other day, and I still stood up for my country and gave the pledge. And if you don't like this country for whatever reasons, I don't know why you're going to live here, because I think it was very rude that you did not stand up and say the pledge with everybody else.
Anyone else who would like to make to public comment for items not on the agenda?
Sean Nassery, Clawson resident. Sorry. I just wanted to bring up Clawson Fest, and I know Laura kind of dabbled on it. It wasn't clear to me because I know we share the same vendors with some of the other events. We had to have made sure it was inside of our vote that any of our vendors serving food or have an activity, we need to have a $1 million vendor insurance for them, and they have to name Clawson as the secondary on that. That was not brought up at any of the other events that have been approved this year. And as I stated, our city clerk said that there was no vendors at the car show. There is. They're on the sidewalk, they're in the church parking lot, and they're selling hot dogs and chips and kielbasa's and everything I go there for. So also at the Fall Fest, that was not voted on. It was just said that they'll be treated the same, but that wasn't voted on, that they have to have the same standards. Also, back in the January meeting, it was stated that because we are a co-sponsored event with Clawson Fest, and it benefits the city, we do not have to pay any city services fees. But last Friday, I received an email from Mr. Riker that we are being brought back in to discuss what these fees are going to be. So I don't know if council has anything to say about that, why this is being discussed again. We're putting a pause on Clawson Fest because if we have to pay $8,000 to $10,000, that's less we have to give back to all of our charities and schools, and that's kind of our mission. And if we can't do that, why have a festival? So, thank you.
Any other people who would like to come and speak to items not on the agenda?
Michael Frank, Clawson resident, speaking as a resident. I'd just like to say, Ms. Rankovich, I respect your First Amendment rights, your constitutional rights to do as you please. There is no legal requirement to stand for the pledge, never has been. And please continue to exercise your rights as delineated in the Constitution.
Anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda? I don't know, I think we need to start the clock and make sure. No.
I'll be quick. I meant to say the same thing as, I'm just blanking your name, Mr. Frank. I'm so sorry. As to what you had said, you can still love your country, but you can disagree what is going on with it. So I do appreciate you and I respect you. And a lot of people don't agree with what's happening in our country. And it's your right, so thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Hello, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Akash Kaluri. I'm a visitor to this community. I'm the regional manager covering Oakland County for Senator Alyssa Slotkin. A couple of you may have gotten an email from me over the last couple of days just regarding some of the funding opportunities that have opened up for the next fiscal year, but I just wanted to introduce myself as a partner to all of you. And would just love to drop by, provide my information after we're done, and would just love to see how our office can be of assistance.
Perfect. One more time, anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda? Seeing no one move, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment for items not on the agenda, and we will turn, to the city clerk's report.
I have no comments tonight, ma'am.
All right, thank you. How about the city attorney's report?
I have nothing additional today.
All right. All right, city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Construction update, Elmwood. Remediation on any crack or defects along with easement restoration will be completed this spring. Transitioning to Rochester Road, the tying in of new pipes to the existing water distribution as well as all the residential water supply tie-ins are now complete. Reminder, this project is a new pipe and upgrade from 6-inch to 8-inch in conjunction with a road diet resurfacing that will occur this spring, after which all restoration will be completed. Communication coordination is ongoing with the City of Royal Oak. We will share future construction updates regarding the next phase of this project as they become available. I sporadically receive complaints regarding holes left behind by the hydro excavation for the lead and copper identification program. The contractor actually does fill these holes. The freeze-thaw cycle as well as precipitation cause the soil to settle. Our crews are actively backfilling them when noticed or reported. If you do observe one of these holes, please contact DPW at 248-288-3222. I would like to encourage residents to please take the Clausen Parks Recreation and Senior Services Survey, which can be found on the city's website homepage under City News. The survey is in regards to potential configurations of City Park and the future of the Senior Center. Pending any questions, that's my report.
Shalom traffic, we talked a little bit about that when they were here.
Yes, if I can. So the city attorney and I are looking into language that is enforceable in regards to construction routes, so that there is a hammer and not, or there's a stick and not just
a carrot.
There's not even a carrot. I mean, it's just it's direction.
It's just a request.
Yes.
So as people observe non-compliance, they should call the city manager, the non-emergency line. Who should they?
Either one
Okay.
is fine. But yeah, we'll let Robertson Brothers know. But the intent is to have something of substance that we can sink our teeth into.
Okay. And then a resident recently asked about stuff on Bowers, the parking situation. Would it be correct to say that that resident should probably send a email to the Traffic and Safety Board with their concerns and suggestions about the conditions there?
Send it to Chief and myself.
Chief and the city manager, who would be Mr. Riker, would be the way to address that. And then also, I saw the email that the gentleman spoke to about funding opportunities from Slotkin. Is that where we can go, hey, we'd like $5 million to do something?
And it's on. We're tracking that along with the ones from McMurrow, from McDonald, and Gary Peters.
Okay. And so do you have, do you know exactly do you have ideas, or you need ideas?
So there's something that we'd like to collaborate potentially with the school district, and then also we do have, we'd like to try and carve out some of those items that are already on the infrastructure list so that we can then free up some of that money to do other projects.
So would that also be an opportunity? We have some people, there's a resident that we regularly hear about whose concerns are not being addressed for a long period of time. It seems like that would be an opportunity to maybe try and apply for something like that to move that up the schedule.
That one is not being addressed in a timely fashion till the Shalom development is completed, because Bywood is the construction route.
Okay.
And we met with her in January very specifically about that.
She sent us an email, and she was not particularly satisfied. There's also another gentleman who's sent emails, and I forget what street that they are on. Elmsford, and that is on the route as well?
I'd have to go and consult. I don't think Elmsford is on the list for anything, quite honestly.
Okay.
I don't think we offered up through, I think it's through Councilmember Slawinski. I spoke with you in regards to, we had a video conference with the one resident you referenced, and I offered that up for the other gentleman as well.
Okay. Any other questions for the city manager?
I do have one.
You go,
You go first.
there was a resident who was talking about speeding on Lincoln. What I was wondering is, I was driving down Lincoln today, and I noticed that I think that was where there was a water main break or something. And does it have anything to do with that? Because that's exactly where the speed light sign, where it says how fast you're going, that's been off for a while. And I was wondering if it had to do with what they were doing
I don't
on
think
the
that's
street.
the case, but Chief did provide a robust feedback along with
She
the
did,
traffic safety
yeah.
report.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
So, because we're trying to be good and not send emails to everyone,
okay.
but she, because I had looped the chief of police in to that conversation. I think someone else did. So I think a couple of us who had done that were on that. But I also know that, as I said in the email to the resident, I know that a couple years ago, when it was when the PNC building conversation was happening, and there was a lot of consternation by the residents on Lincoln, and she worked very closely with those residents at the time. So there's some traffic studies and that kind of stuff. And if I recall correctly, your email said that they were going to assign someone to
Yes.
keep an eye on it in the
Yes.
short term. So that's all being addressed.
Okay, perfect,
Peak
thank you.
traffic times.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Well, I mean, I don't know if now's a good time or not, but like the Clausen Fest still just keeps coming back up. We got emails about it today. It's online. Sean's up here. Like, I thought we addressed some of this back on January 20th, but maybe because we didn't clarify the cost recovery, I think it got kicked into the MOU, but I thought from the dais that we all spoke on not requiring cost recovery in 2026?
I believe the motion had that specific carve-out still attached to it.
Because I went back and listened, and I know Mayor Moffett was very adamant about.
So, yeah, I went back and listened to it today, too, and I had said I don't want to vote for this motion because it has the cost recovery thing in it. And what we were told at the time was that would be addressed by the memorandum of understanding, but it sounds like the memorandum of understanding is off the table.
May
Yes, there was off the table.
Yes, thank you. So, Madam Mayor, if you recall, that memorandum of understanding came to all of you members of council. I had not seen it.
Correct.
I was presented it, at the meeting, and I said I'll take a look and I'll review it and we'll present it if appropriate. I reviewed it. I do not think it appropriate, and I recommended it. So I wrote to the city manager. I recommend, the language that was contained in the MOU was frankly nothing that I would ever advise this council to engage in. It was above and beyond, how do I say this gently? It was above and beyond the call of duty as far as any attorney or any city manager making a recommendation to anybody such as you to adopt. We haven't adopted anything like this before on prior occasion. That is not to say that you don't have the ability to do so. But if you're considering something like this, we should consider this going forward with respect to all. And the language contained therein should not be language like the one contained currently, which would prevent you from doing so much. I'll share, I don't know if, and correct me, Mr. Raker, if that was shared with council. I don't know.
Two things,
Okay.
yeah, well, two things. I know the MOU wasn't originally developed for us. It was for the DDA. So that was one thing. That also came out in that meeting. So I believe the other Sean, who's not here tonight, stated that it wasn't even originally meant for council, but he forwarded that on just for us, so we had something to review. So in that meeting, he had said that MOU was something that they had come up just to present to the DDA, I think, initially. So, but again, I think it's the cost recovery, and for me, it's all of this happening in the midst of us, in the middle of event planning season. So I just have a hard time doing this to folks who are in the middle of event planning and would rather us work on something like that, cost recovery, setting things up like that for 2027 and not in the middle of 2026 would be my preference. And I think that's what I was pushing towards back in January, and I thought that's where we were all working towards back then. So seeing this kicked up again now, I'm like, wait, what?
So listening to the January 20th meeting before I came here, anticipating this would be a topic of conversation, there was the general consensus of the council that we did not want to see any cost recovery. And again, the only reason it was included in the motion was that the guidance, and you hadn't seen the memo of mutual, whatever the MOU. Thank you. At the time, but we were hesitant to include that item in the motion because we were all so opposed to there being cost recovery for this organization. So now that the MOU is sort of, I get it, it's off the table, what can we do to address the council's concerns about not, and if you recall, because when we talked about that, you made the comment, oh, we put in the budget for the 4th of July because we don't want to do that. So how can we address the council's unwillingness to enforce a cost recovery for this particular event? Do we make a motion? Do we,
or at least, like, if we want to look at cost recovery standards and making them applicable to all events citywide, we can, I'm not opposed to doing that like next year and getting something on the books and putting something together that's standard for next year. I think it's just very difficult. It seemed knee-jerk in the midst of planning, but right now, in the middle of all of it, it's just, I just don't think it's right.
So I asked Mr. Riker, you mentioned that you're still considering cost recovery. We all have been adamant we don't want cost recovery. How do we reconcile that issue?
I would suggest that someone make a motion to have on the agenda specifically what your desire is to not do cost recovery for the calendar year 2026.
Could we just make that?
I wouldn't do it here at this meeting. I think it needs to be on an agenda so that people know about it, and then you can vote on it then.
So my only question would be how that interferes with the planning, because they're on the precipice, they're on the cusp of saying we have to pull the event. We can do, we can talk about doing a special meeting just to address that, so that that's addressed in a timely manner.
I think you've already telegraphed what the outcome of the vote's going to be. So I think they're probably safe. However, it's your will. I'm just saying that if you're going to make a motion, something should be on the agenda so that we've talked. You know, there's been a lot of campaigning on transparency, and we talk about transparency, so let's keep it transparent.
Thoughts of the group?
I just had a question. This is something that we've already talked about, though.
Right.
We've already talked about.
There wasn't a vote about that.
We did vote on it.
I believe that it's still, I'd have to go back and look at it specifically, what the actual motion was.
He's right. The motion has 5 items. The final one is that there may be cost recovery. I made the joke that I might marry George Clooney. Do you remember this? Do you remember this?
Okay.
Yeah, and because of the word may, but it was left on because there was the MOU on the table, which we thought would address it, and that would answer the question. So.
Okay, that's clear.
Okay,
it's a little tricky, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can table it for now, but I will have a conversation with the Clausenfest people, and if I feel it's necessary to call a special meeting sooner than later, then that's the course of action that we'll take. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So let it be written. Okay. Where were we? Are you all done? You were done a while ago. City manager's report. Okay, let's move on to city council comments. Let's start with Councilmember Spishak because he was appointing someone else.
I thought Scott was going to go first. I think the only comment that I had I'm sure everybody received an email for the Michigan Municipal League. There's the Elected Official Academy in May. I just figured we'd bring that up. It's in Bay City. Thought it'd be a good opportunity, whether it was one of us went and did a report on it, or if there were multiple people, depending on how we broke it down. So I just wanted to be able to bring that up because I think it would be a good opportunity for everybody, whatever we decide to learn from that. I've heard a lot of good, positive feedback from other people I've spoken who've attended it in the past. So that's what I've got.
Councilmember Peltonen, we're going to mix it all up tonight.
Well, I'll start with Happy Women's History Month and Happy Tom Izzo, not History Month, Tom Izzo Month to those who celebrate. And is the sign for the museum already up, or for Hunter?
No, we'll follow up on that again.
Okay, that's all. Nothing else.
Okay. Councilmember Tinlin.
All right, I got a really boring one. There's currently a legislation bill package of the House of Representatives in Michigan that is 5529, 5530, 5532. Essentially what that is, they're taking and removing local planning rights from municipalities. And, you know, I think zoning and planning is democracy in action for our cities. So this is very concerning. This is still in House discussions, but examples like duplex by right, that they could build a duplex in any R1 residential area. Mobile homes by right in single-family home residential area. Restricting parking requirements of apartments or condos to one only density. So I think that's very concerning. I've sent out a lot of emails to my people that I have on my email list, but I encourage anyone that's more interested on that, I can provide the details so you can reach out to your House of Representatives and Senators in Michigan to prevent these bills from morphing in. Some of the stuff is pretty good, but really they should not be taking planning and ordinance rights away from the city.
All right. Councilmember Slawinski.
Oh, just thank you for everybody coming in tonight and watching us and being a part of the city and voicing your voice. Thank you to the administration for helping me get through understanding a lot of things. I just really want to appreciate you guys. And that's all I have.
All right. Councilmember Rinkovich.
All right. So, as some members of our community have noticed and pointed out, there are times that I do not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. This is not something I take lightly. It's not political theater, and it's not due to a lack of patriotism. I come from a multi-generational family of military members. My husband is a disabled combat veteran and a first responder. Service to this country is part of our identity. So when I speak about the pledge or make the choices that I do with deep respect for what it represents and for those who have given their lives defending the freedoms they promise. The reason I remain seated comes down to the final words of the pledge, with liberty and justice for all. Words have meaning to me, and I cannot stand in affirmation of those words unless I believe we are fully living up to them. Not because I want to believe them, but because I need to believe them. Right now, our nation is experiencing division and loss. There are families who are grieving and communities who are wrestling with questions of justice and equality. In moments like this, patriotism is not blind agreement. Patriotism is honesty. Patriotism is accountability. And patriotism is the courage to say we can do better. The freedoms defended by our military include freedom of speech and freedom of conscience. Those freedoms apply to everyone, including elected officials. My decision is rooted in integrity, and when I stand, I want it to mean something. When I speak words, I need to believe them. Choosing not to stand is not about disrespect, I promise you. For me, it's an act of respect for the ideals the pledge represents and for the people who have sacrificed to protect our right to live according to our conscience. Whether standing or seated, my commitment remains the same: to serve with integrity, to uphold the Constitution, and to work toward a country that truly delivers liberty and justice for all. Patriotism is not about standing on command. Patriotism is about standing for principles. Thank you.
All right, stop clapping. Did I do a good job? All right, so I don't have a lot. I just want to mention that tomorrow at Hunter Community Center, there's a meeting for the 5-line pipe project that is from 5 to 7 o'clock. They wanted you to RSVP. I sent an RSVP off the other day, and they didn't say, no, don't come, and I was late. So I just wanted to mention that. And then I would like to thank everyone on this dais. I think we had really good substantive conversations today. I'm really happy with the way we addressed everything. So thank you, everyone who came prepared and had good conversations with everything today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank everyone who came out tonight and told us about their opinions and their concerns and their love of the community. I appreciate each and every one of you who came out, everyone who's watching, and that's all I've got. I will take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes,
Councilmember Peltman.
Yes.
we are adjourned. Thank you so very much, everyone.
After 9 o'clock.